Hey, it's me, April Spectrum. I am trying again to record my final video in my little mini-series about mental illness. I'm also really hungry, so I'm just gonna eat during it. Anyways, if you haven't seen the first video, you should. It covers the basics. This video is going to talk a bit more about social stigma and how that interacts with mental illness. And to understand it, you need to really realize that there's two forms of stigma. There's stigma against mental illness itself, and like the people who have it, and there's stigma against getting help for it. My peppers are begging. I'm letting her beg because I feel guilty for giving her this terrible haircut, which I don't know if you can see. But she's supposed to be a poodle, but she looks like a miniature lab right now. So I'm letting her sit on my lap. Alright. So, stigma against getting help is created by a variety of sources and factors. The most prominent, here in America at least, is what I like to call bootstraps mentality. It's this idea that everybody has to make their own way in the world starting from nothing. And so if you are sick, mentally or physically or poor or anything, you just kind of have to work harder. In addition, there's a lot of stigma that gets created by media, by which I mean entertainment. Your conscious mind sees something and says, well, this is just pretend. But your subconscious isn't as good at that, so it takes in a lot of bad information, and keeps it. And one of the primary messages that were sent via entertainment is that psychologists and psychiatrists are really bad at their job. I'll use the movie Split as an example because it's fairly recent and I think a lot of people will probably have seen it. There's a point in the movie in which one of the patients asks the therapist if she lives alone, which is a major red flag that she just doesn't notice. It also asked, like, what would happen if she died, which is another major red flag that she doesn't notice. Throughout entertainment, people who take jobs in mental illness are portrayed as being exceedingly bad at them, as bad people, or just as really stupid. As a result, when someone is thinking about seeking help for mental illness, in the back of their mind is this ingrained message that whoever tries to help them will be unable to do so, or that the people in charge of helping them will intentionally cause them harm. In addition to stigma against seeking help, there's also stigma against mental illness itself. Neighbor's dog is like standing up on the fence. It's pretty funny. Anyways, I saw a video, I think BuzzFeed is who did it, in which people were treating physical illness the way they treat mental illness. So, like, there was a girl with, like, a bunch of tissues around her on the couch, and she's, like, sneezing and just looks terribly sick. And her friend goes, oh my god, are you even trying to get better? You're better than this. And then, like, there's one where someone's sick and they, like, go to take their medicine and they're like, you don't need medicine, you just need to be stronger. And the one that cracked me up the most is this boy's playing basketball and he's got, like, a broken leg, like a really obviously broken leg. And his friend's like, whoa, dude, like, your leg's broken, you should go to the doctor. And he's like, no, I'm a real man, I don't need the doctor. Well, it's ridiculous when it comes to physical illness. But a lot of that is how people see mental illness. And I'm whistling my S's and I hate it. Well, the truth is, the majority of mental illnesses are caused by physical problems. Depression is caused by a malfunction in the structure of the brain that makes it so you're chemically imbalanced. Schizophrenia is a structural impairment to the brain. There are some that are caused by trauma, but it doesn't have to be physical to be serious. This is impacting people's lives and they should be able to seek help for it. let's see. I'm trying to remember what my little talking points were, because I thought that I'd done such a good job on the video that I just threw them away. And I should have kept them. Okay, so being aware of the stigma isn't enough to help. In order to help, we have to correct it. And what this entails is when we see or hear someone is spreading inaccurate beliefs about mental illness that can potentially be harmful, we have to speak up. So, if someone says, oh my gosh, that dude's a psycho. I know, it's a really common phrase, but it's also harmful because psychotic disorders are not the cause of every bad behavior ever, and in fact, are rarely the cause of bad behaviors. And the person that they're accusing of being a psycho almost always is not. It's not hard to just be like, hey, can you think of another word for that? Can you just call him an ass? Another thing is people will spread misinformation. Okay, let's get political. People talk a lot about Trump and say that he's mentally ill. Most commonly, they say he has narcissism. But the guy who wrote the diagnostic criteria for narcissism says no, he does not. I kind of know a lot about mental illness because I've done a lot of research, because I worked in education, because I work in mental illness now, because I've dealt with mental illness. I don't expect you to go through all that process. But you don't have to, because the people who've dedicated their lives to this have published the knowledge they've gained. So it's very easy, if you see something wrong being said, to type in Google whatever the topic is, and then bam, zillions of results. You can pick the one that most clearly says it, link it in, and be like, well, actually, ding, done. That's it. That's all it takes. And if you don't feel like being a keyboard warrior or whatever, that's fine too. You don't necessarily have to be super confrontational about it. I know some people struggle with that, and if the idea of telling someone, actually, you're lying, you're wrong, or you're just being harmful is scary, there's other things you can do. Like, you can talk about your own emotional and psychological needs. Taking a mental health day from work is perfectly acceptable, even if it's just, wow, I'm really stressed right now. And you can say, hey, you know what? I want to use PTO on such and such day because I'm really getting stressed and overwhelmed and I need some me time, so I'm going to take a mental health day. And saying that out loud in front of people helps people who have diagnosable mental illness feel safer to seek help. In addition to talking about those sorts of things and what you go through yourself, you also want to become the kind of person that other people can talk to when they're in need. My work actually sponsored us all to go to a suicide prevention class. And one of the big things in the class was talking about how to change the language we use in talking to people so that they feel safe admitting that they need help. Now, if you suspect someone of suicide or of depression, you want to be reassured that they're okay because you want them to be okay, but they're not, right? And instinctively, you're going to phrase any questions asking them about how they're doing in such a way as to prioritize your need to feel like they're okay. So you're going to say, wow, you're not suicidal, are you? And they feel obligated to say no. And that puts them at a greater risk, and it also makes them feel like they cannot show you that side of things. So instead, say, hey, you know what, I've noticed the following signs. I've noticed that you've been eating less, or sleeping more, or, I noticed you're not hanging out with your friends as much, and you've started giving away some of your belongings. And then instead of saying, are you okay, say, are you feeling depressed? Or do you maybe find yourself thinking about killing yourself? And when they answer, don't act shocked. And there's a whole course on it, and honestly, I would recommend that anyone who can afford to do it take the course. I don't even know how much it costs, but it helps you to be able to help someone if they come to you, because there's so much out there telling people seek help, talk to a friend, and yet most of us don't really know what to do in that situation. So by preparing yourself in advance, you can be a better ally to people who have mental illness and help reduce suicide, increase the amount of people who are getting the treatment they need, and improve everyone's quality of life. I think that's basically all that I had for you guys. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyways, like I said, I was trying to keep the series pretty short because I don't like that part 1, part 2, part 3 video type thing. So that's all I've got for this. If you like this video, hit like. If you don't, hit dislike. I think that's a button. I'd like if you subscribed. Comment below if you have anything to say, add, or dispute. Follow me on Twitter. And more importantly than anything else, talk about these topics with people you know. I'm April Spectrum. See you next time.